How are we doing today? Doing good? So should we get right into it? How many people have no idea what exactly to eat after a workout and the science behind it? I'm guessing probably a decent amount. So in this article, we are going to discuss um, the type of foods that you should be eating after workout, um, to make sure your muscles repair properly, to make sure you refill the glycogen stores. Your muscles have um, glycogen stores in them that they uh, that they use for energy. Um, so we'll discuss all of that. All right. So the post-workout period. Exercise, both strength and endurance training, is responsible for countless health and aesthetic benefits. However, the exercise itself is a physiological stress. So, physiological just means, it's a body stress. Symptoms of the stress are often mild and include muscle soreness, need for extra sleep, and increased appetite. So, whenever you're hungry or getting increased appetite, it's usually your body's way of saying that it needs more nutrition. These symptoms let us know that the exercise has depleted the muscle's fuel sources, caused some minor damage, and that the muscle is in need of replenishment and repair. Changes allow the muscles to adapt by getting better at the exercise demands that's being placed on it. If you're doing endurance exercise, the muscle will become depleted and damaged in the short run. But in the long run, it will compensate, building itself up to a better aerobic machine. So, like endurance and like strength, like I tell everybody all the time, it's just you have to constantly push yourself past certain limits in order to get better. If strength training is your thing, you'll tear down your weaker muscle fibers in favor of building up bigger, stronger ones. In all cases, exercise essentially tears down old, less adapted muscle in order to rebuild more functional muscle. This phenomenon is called remodeling. In particular, during the exercise bout and immediately following it, exercise breaks down our muscle carbohydrate stores and our muscle protein structures. Then the immune system comes in to rectify it. Without the proper protein and carbohydrates, this building can't take place. You'll be left with muscles that never reach their potential. So to realize full return on your time, you need to give the body the raw materials it needs, namely protein and carbohydrates. So feeding the muscles. All trainees, regardless of their chosen mode of exercise, must take their post-exercise nutrition seriously in order to provide the muscle with the raw material it needs. All types of exercise use carbohydrates for energy. So carbohydrates are our body's primary fuel source by default. Muscle carbohydrate depletion is inevitable. Therefore, a post-workout meal high in carbohydrates is required to refill muscle carbohydrate and energy stores. You need to consume enough carbohydrates to promote a substantial insulin release. Insulin is the hormone responsible for pushing carbohydrates and amino acids into the muscle. So after your workout is one of the best times to eat simple sugars. So a good example of this is that if you're an athlete, athletes have been known to eat candy after workouts. Another really good thing is chocolate milk. Since you guys aren't athletes, I don't recommend eating candy and chocolate milk, but you still want to get some of those simple sugars into your body. So something like a piece of fruit and protein. By consuming a large amount of carbohydrates, you will promote a large insulin release, increase glycogen storage, and increase protein repair. Carbohydrates maximize glycogen synthesis and accelerate protein repair. So this is all kind of stuff that you would learn in strength and conditioning, anatomy, physiology, stuff like that. So I wouldn't worry myself too much with all these scientific terms. Just know that something like a piece of fruit that is simple sugar is best ate right after your workout. After exercise, the body decreases its rate of protein synthesis and increases its rate of protein breakdown. The provision of protein and amino acid solutions have been shown to reverse this trend, increasing protein synthesis and decreasing protein breakdown. Now, consuming meal timing. While your post-workout feeding should be rich in protein and carbohydrates, this meal should be fat-free. That's another good point. The consumption of essential fats is one of the most overlooked areas of daily nutritional intake. During the post-workout period, eating fat can actually decrease the effectiveness of your post-workout beverage. So remember that. That's a good takeaway. Since fat slows down transit through the stomach, eating fat during the post-workout period may slow the digestion and absorption of carbohydrates and proteins. It is absolutely crucial that you consume your post-workout meal immediately after exercise. The muscles are depleted and require an abundance of protein and carbohydrate. In addition, during this time, the muscles are biochemically primed for nutrient uptake. This phenomenon is commonly known as the anabolic window. Over the course of the recovery period, this window gradually closes, and by failing to eat immediately after exercise, you diminish your chances of promoting full recovery. I wouldn't be worried too much about you know, I would say about 1 to 2 hours is a good timing to eat a meal. Don't be too concerned to like eat right immediately after. Consuming a meal 1 hour later is superior to consuming one 3 hours later. If you wait too long, glycogen replenishment and protein repair will be compromised. So the next topic is whole food versus nutritional supplements. So does your body absorb organic food better, or does it absorb supplements better? There are some instances in which supplements can actually be superior to whole food. In the case of post-exercise nutrition, liquid supplement nutrition is far superior to whole food for the following reasons. So they're talking about protein shakes. Typically, after intense exercise, most people complain that eating a big meal is difficult, which is true for most people. This is understandable as the exercise stress creates a situation where the hunger centers are all but shut down. However, it's critical that you eat if you want to remodel the muscle, enlarge the muscle, or recover from exercise. So because you tend to not be as hungry after a workout, that's when the kind of protein shakes can come into play. It's a lot easier to just drink something real quick than it is to eat a large meal. Fortunately, liquid formulas are palatable, easy to consume, and be quite nutrient dense, providing all the nutrition you need at this time. In addition, since these formulas are structurally simple, the gastrointestinal tract has no difficulty processing. So once again, whey protein is the fastest acting protein. Whey, W-H-E-Y. So if this is something you're interested in doing, that's what you want to look for. A liquid post-exercise formula may be fully absorbed within 30 to 60 minutes, providing much needed muscle nourishment by this time. However, a slower digesting solid food meal may take 2 to 3 hours to fully reach the muscles. During the post-exercise period, specific nutrients maximize your recovery. These include an abundance of water, high glycemic index carbohydrates, and certain amino acids. It's also best to avoid fat during this time. The only way to ensure that these nutrients are present in the right amounts is to formulate a specific liquid blend. Fortunately, this is all usually done for you when you buy some sort of shake. Does anybody have any questions so far before we move on to what you should be eating before you work out? So to break down that whole article, long story short, as soon as you're done working out, the quicker you can get nutrients into your body to repair your muscles, the better. The best way to usually do that is through some sort of shake that contains amino acids, simple carbohydrates, and protein. Okay? So, pre-workout meal benefits. Pre-workout meals are whole food meals that should be eaten 3 hours before workout. When eating the right foods and amounts, these include benefits like more energy during your workouts. They can protect your muscle and increase muscle growth. So, more energy during your workouts. Increasing your glycogen store before workout can help improve your energy levels significantly. An intense workout can be very difficult to handle if you have a low carb diet. This is because your glycogen stores in your muscles are low. When you work out hard and with heavy weights, the body is in a catabolic environment. This means that the muscle is kind of eating itself. This can break down muscle tissue and use it as energy. So by eating a pre-workout meal, you can reduce muscle breakdown due to the nutrients consumed. Now, muscle breakdown only usually occurs if you exercise for a very long period of time. Your body's first fuel source is carbohydrates, so sugars, all that stuff. Your body's second fuel source that it's going to go to is fat. The last fuel source is your muscle or protein. So what I like to tell people is all you have to really do is look at the difference between a sprinter and a marathon runner. A sprinter, usually when you see in the Olympics, they're huge, they're jacked. That's because they only require short bursts of energy, which comes from carbohydrates. Now, marathon runners are running for hours at a time. And because they require energy for like consistently for those hours, then it starts to break down their muscle. What's up, Danielle? Yeah, so if you're on a lean fat loss program, be sure to adjust the calories in your pre-workout meal. Whether you're trying to lose fat or building muscle, acknowledging the calorie implications of your pre and post-workout meals can be very helpful. What and when to eat. To produce the best pre-workout meal for you, understanding the speed of digestion for different foods determine the mealtime. Dietary fat takes 6 to 8 hours to digest. Protein takes 3 to 4. Carbs take 2 to 3 hours, depending on the source. Typically, you want your food almost digested before you work out. We've all been to the point where you eat that really large meal and then try to work out and you just feel like crap. So I usually tend to recommend a more small snack before you work out, probably like an hour before, so that you still have the energy, and then you can eat a larger meal afterwards. All right, so when it comes to the different macronutrients, so fat takes the longest to digest, so your pre-workout meal should be relatively low in fat. Pre-workout meals containing protein provide us with a major benefit: the prevention of muscle catabolism. By consuming a good source of protein before workout, you can give your body the amino acids, branched chain amino acids in particular, that it needs to prevent muscle breakdown while aiding muscle recovery and growth. So the next one that's important is carbohydrates. There are two types of carbohydrates: simple um, and complex. So now it becomes more complicated. Which one is the best one before your workout? It ultimately depends on your goal and the time of your pre-workout meal. Simple carbohydrates are great for 30 minutes to an hour before a workout, as they provide the body with a fast-acting glucose as fuel. However, complex carbohydrates also play a role within your energy metabolism. By consuming low GI carbohydrates or complex around 2 to 3 hours before a workout, you can give your body a slow releasing source of energy. This means you'll be able to work out for longer and less likely to crash and burn in the middle of your training. So how big should the meal be? It depends on who you are, and your weight. This is calculated on your body's own response. A meal around 500 to 600 calories for a 180-pound man, 2 to 3 hours before a workout is great during a fat loss program. So that's just an example. Another example, if you're an intense athlete, more carbs should be included. For building muscle, a larger pre-workout meal combined with a pre-workout protein shake is also recommended. So some examples of pre-workout foods. We have eggs, broccoli, cottage cheese, berries, apples, oats, asparagus, turkey, chicken, yogurt, beans, brown rice. Those you can combine those. Those are just examples. Here are some meal ideas. You can do oatmeal with whey protein mixed in. That will really fill you up. You could do a turkey wrap with vegetables. You can do 6 ounces of grilled chicken with a yam and asparagus. And throughout this whole thing, make sure you're drinking plenty of water. I feel like that's one of the most underrated ideas behind nutrition and properly hydrating yourself. Drinking water all the time and being hydrated not only stops you from eating calories. It will fill you up when you're hungry. Sometimes your body mistakes thirst for hunger, or hunger for thirst. I should. Just mentally, you'll feel better. Essentially, water should be the only thing that you're drinking, or maybe a cup of coffee, but that's about it. Water is my biggest struggle. Why is that, Karen? One thing that I do, I don't like just water. Like I like some sort of flavor with it. So I do seltzer water with like that hint, and I drink it by the liter. Um, and seltzer water is fine for you. Ba, 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 ba. I just forget to drink it. So at work, what you can do is you just constantly have a water bottle next to you. And if, say, you get hungry, drink water. Kind of little things like that. So the stereotypical healthy meal, chicken, rice, and vegetables, are actually a classic pre-workout meal. Through combining a good source of lean protein and complex carbohydrate, this meal can provide amino acids to promote muscle. They can build muscle and a slow releasing source of energy. Consume a meal like this around 2 to 3 hours before your workout. Greek yogurt and dried fruit. Dried fruit is high in sugar and high in calories. When it comes to dieting, dried fruit is generally avoided. However, this food is great to be consumed in measured amounts pre-workout to give a quick source of simple sugar. Consuming dried fruit with Greek yogurt can also provide the body with a source of protein to help optimize your workout. If you were to eat a meal like this, it would be about an hour, hour and a half before your workout. Another good one is porridge and oatmeal with berries, fruit smoothies. Those tend to be high in sugar, once again, depending on your goals. Whole grain bread, sweet potato, and brown rice. You can do an omelet, protein shakes. Yeah, just make sure, food is just pretty much you just have to look at them like macronutrients. Food is just made up of 3 things: proteins, carbs, and fats. As long as you get the proper amount at the proper time, you should be good. Okay, and that is about it. Any questions on that? I don't know if people knew this beforehand. I would say that, these are all really good rules to live by. Don't get too concerned about exactly what you're doing, whether it's like a simple carb or a complex carb. Just eat healthy, eat clean. Just make sure you don't eat too much before a workout because, like I said, you'll feel like crap. But they are very important to get a good workout in. I would say that the pre-workout meal is probably more important than the post-workout. But that's just kind of opinion. So, once again, any questions? There has to be some questions. Typically, so some of the best fruits for you are berries. Raspberries have, I mentioned this before, the highest fiber out of any of the fruits. Typically, if you're having a snack, I would stay away from like apples, oranges, bananas. I know that's kind of silly to say, but they're very high in sugar. Can you do a protein bar before a workout? You can. Be careful of the protein bars out there. There's a lot of bad ones. Usually the ones that consider themselves like meal replacements, they're usually filled with a lot of crap. So if you have any questions about that, you can always take a picture of the nutrition label and send it to me, and I'll get back to you. Typically, I think the best nutrition bar out there is Quest. It does have a lot of sugar, alcohol, stuff like that that's going to make you feel bloated. It can kind of mess with people's stomachs a lot. But as far as the calorie to protein fiber ratio, I think it's one of the best out there. Any other questions? I think some of the better ideas on here. Don't do oatmeal before a workout. That's too heavy. If you're doing a fruit smoothie, you might as well do that after your workout and add some protein to it. I feel like sweet potatoes, brown rice, stuff like that might be a little too heavy as well. I think a good one is a like a rice cake with like peanut butter and slices of banana. That's that tends to have all the perfect ratios of macronutrients. Um, okay. Nobody has any other questions? I appreciate everybody that stopped by. Um, once again, if you like this and you're not part of the group, you can always join Feeling the Burn. Um, we got a whole community there that loves to talk and kind of hang out. And if you have any other question, you can always message me here on Facebook as well. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.